Hello everyone, this is a practice test video on Chapter 8, Quadratic Equations and Expressions. In this video, you will add, subtract, and multiply polynomials and factor as necessarily in problem situations. Later, you will also solve quadratic equations by finding zeros. For those of you who are not sure what the zeros are referring to, these are similar to your x-intercept where y is equal to 0. Also, we'll be finding this using zero product property. Here are some vocabs that you have learned throughout this chapter. They are all important. However, if I could point out a few in here, when they're asking you to find the degree, whether it's a monomial or polynomial, and the standard form of a polynomial was using from the highest degree to the lowest degree. Also, when it comes to quadratic expressions, this is followed by when you have x squared. So we wrote ax squared plus bx plus c. Next one was how you factor a polynomial. There were several cases, including how to factor by grouping. The last one in here was how to solve an equation using zero product property. The first problem, which of these expressions is equivalent to x to the fourth power minus 16? What we're going to do, the first thing that comes to my mind is since this is following the form something squared minus something, I could think about a squared minus b squared. A squared minus b squared was equal to a plus b times a minus b, where in this case, I could write this as x to the second power of this, I'll put the square. So the square of x squared will be x to the fourth power. Minus, when you have 4 squared, this will be also equal to 16. So using x squared as your a, 4 as your b, this can be written as x squared plus 4 following a plus b form. And then the next one will be x squared minus 4. As you see, none of my option looks similar to this one. The reason is because when you are looking at this x squared minus 4, this can be also using a squared minus b squared. So one more step in here, the x squared plus 4 stays the same. However, when it becomes x squared minus 4, now my a is going to be x, where b is going to be 2. In this case, I will have x plus 2 times x minus 2. Which is going to be your part B, where just x minus 2, x plus 2 has been switched. Number 2, which of the following expressions are equivalent to m to the fourth power minus 16n squared? Select one that applies. Similar to the number 1, I'm going to use a squared minus b squared form, where in this case, a is m squared, so that square of m squared will be m to the fourth power. B is going to be, since you have this 16 as a coefficient, my number will be 4. And then if I had n, square of 4n will be equal to 16n squared. So then in here, if I follow a plus b times a minus b, since a is m squared plus b is 4n times m squared minus 4n. In this case, unlike number 1, I cannot factor this anymore because you have n, which is not the square of a variable. So then my answer in this case will be B. Number 3, select the expression that is equivalent to 8x to the third power minus 1. In this case, I'm going to use the following formula, where a cubed minus b cubed is equal to a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. If you'd like to know how I got these expressions, please leave a comment. I'll be happy to upload a proof very shortly. Because they are not the perfect square terms, however, this 8x cubed can be written as 2x to the third power minus, when you have 1, if I had 1 cube, it still makes it 1. So I'm going to use this where a is your 2x and b is going to be your 1. Now if I just replace everything with the following form, the a was 2x minus b is 1 times a squared will be 2x squared. So 2x times 2x will get you 4x squared. Plus, when you multiply 2x times 1, I will get 2x. Just be careful that I can see some people might write this as negative 2x because of the negative that you had when you were beginning with. However, the b is just positive 1. This negative is coming from your formula. and then plus b squared, the 1 times 1 will be equal to 1. So that's how I know this is going to be my factor form, and there's nothing else that you can do on here. Because this is not the same as when you had the a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. There is 2 that's missing, so it's not really going to be the perfect square form. Thus, in this case, D will be my final answer. Number 4, in order to factor x cubed minus 2x squared minus 8x, I know that we just talked about the cube form. However, in this one, since you have the 3 terms, I'm going to see if I can use the GCF to simplify. So in here, if I take out the x from every single term, this one will be x squared minus 2x minus 8. Now that if I use the case method, two numbers when you multiply, to get x squared will be x times x. And in here, you have to come up with two numbers when you multiply, you will get negative 8, where when you add them, I have to get negative 2. Let me try by putting negative 4 and positive 2. Negative 4 times 2 will be negative 8. When I add these two numbers, I get negative 2. So then I could write x times x minus 4 times x plus 2, which in this case, it looks like A will be your answer. Number 5, which is the factor of x squared plus x minus 12? Same thing, we're going to use a case method. The reason is because you have the 3 terms. In this case, if I had x times x, you'll get x squared. Now, two numbers when you multiply to get negative 12, there are two options, either negative 3 times positive 4, or when you had positive 3 times negative 4. In this case, make sure that when you add them, I have to get positive 1. Negative 3 plus 4 will get you positive 1, where in this case, you get negative 1. So my numbers are going to be negative 3 with 4. In that case, I will have x minus 3 times x plus 4. What they're asking is, which one is the factor of them? Since you don't see x minus 3 as one of the options, all I got is A, and that's going to be answer for number 5. In number 6, which of the following statement is true concerning f of x is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 24? When you are reading the options, they are all referring to something called zeros. The zeros of f of x are, and that's what you're supposed to find, and then it looked like they are looking for how to write in factor form. So let me actually do the factor form first. Using the similar steps, since this is a trinomial, what two numbers do you need to multiply to get negative 24? When you add them, you have to get negative 2. The two numbers are, if you have negative 6 with 4, when you multiply them, I get negative 24. When you add them, I do get negative 2. So in here, if I write x minus 6 times x plus 4, this is going to be the factor form. Now, that would eliminate B and D as your answer. Now, only difference is, how do you find the 0? What they mean by 0 is you are going to plug 0 into your y value. So in other words, what happens if this was equal to 0? This is the beginning form of zero product property. If you remember where we were finding what happens if this one becomes 0 or that one becomes 0. So in order to solve x minus 6 is equal to 0, x has to equal to 6. For the next one, if you had x plus 4 is equal to 0, to make x is equal to 0, you have to have negative 4. So the answers that we found in the past lessons, these are also what we call zeros. And in this case, it looks like C will be my final answer. And this is what it looks like on the graph. So when you're graphing, the f of x is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 24. This is the graph that you get. And if you're looking at it, the zeros are on these 2 points where they're intersecting with the x-axis. So those are another word of x-intercept. And you know that when you have x-intercept, your y is always 0. So when you found x is equal to negative 4 or 6, that's what they're referring to. Number 7, factor f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x minus 40 to find the zeros of the quadratic functions. What I'm asking you in here is that since they're looking for the zeros, I just want you to solve the equation. In order to solve the equation, the first thing was we need to factor them. And then once it's equal to 0, we were using ZPP. So let's think, what two numbers do you need to multiply to get negative 40, while when you add them, you get positive 3? There are many possible factors of negative 40. 2 with negative 20, 1 with negative 40, 4 with negative 10, 5 with negative 8, or so on. Or you can switch the signs of negative. Now, when I had this 5 and negative 8, when I add them, I get negative 3, where I just want the positive 3. So that's how I know if I had positive 8 with negative 5. Then when I multiply, I will get negative 40. When I add them, I get positive 3. So in this case, if you had this x times x to get x squared, my factor will be x plus 8 times x minus 5. Now, since they're looking for the 0, I'm setting f of x is equal to 0. If I substitute, then now I can use a zero product property, where in order to have this one to be 0, I need to have x is equal to negative 8. Or if I want this one to be 0, x has to equal to 5. So 5 minus 5 will be equal to 0. And that's how I know in this case the C will be my final answer. Number 8 is giving you a certain situation, so go ahead and read the instruction. They're saying when you are adding these two polynomials, the solution was the sum of the two polynomials became negative 5x plus 9x plus c. What you're supposed to do is find what is the value of a, b, and c. What I'm going to do, I'm going to separate them one by one. For example, when I add ax squared with 3x squared, I'm supposed to get negative 5x squared. When I'm adding 5x with negative bx, I have to get 9x. The last one is saying if I had negative 6 plus 8, I'll get c. So now you're just going to look at the coefficient of each terms. If I had a plus 3 has to equal to negative 5, a has to equal to negative 8. And in this case, 5 minus b has to equal to 9. So in order to have positive number, this b has to be negative. So that way, when I subtract negative number, it will become positive. If I had b is equal to negative 4, 5 minus negative 4 will get you positive 9. The c, this one doesn't have a variable, so you just add the constant. Negative 6 plus 8 should equal to positive 2. So then a is negative 8, b is negative 4, c is equal to 2. Number 9, enter an expression equivalent to the following polynomial using the fewest number of possible terms. Another word, I'm asking you, please simplify. Just like what we did in previous problem, we will do one step at a time. Only thing is, since this one is subtraction, I want you to be careful when you're subtracting a long term. So I'm going to just write one more time without having this subtraction. So for example, the first polynomial, I will keep it as it is, but for the second one, I'm going to distribute this negative to each terms. Negative times x cubed becomes negative x cubed. Negative times x squared will become negative x squared. And if I repeat the similar steps, it becomes negative 2x and positive 6. Now all you're going to do is just simplify without thinking about subtracting the group. If I do so, 3x cubed has a like term with negative x cubed. If I do, you will get 2x cubed. Negative 4x squared with negative x squared, when I combine them, it becomes negative 5x squared. 2x minus 2x, they become 0, so I'm not going to write it. Negative 5 plus 6 will be 1. So I know 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 1 will be my answer of number 9. Number 10, please read the situation. This must be a review from the last chapter. I just put 2 questions regarding to inequalities. Simply what they're asking is to solve this to find what is going to be your minimum length and what's your maximum length. In order to solve this, since I have absolute value, if I want to take this out, I have to rewrite the form L minus 28.5 is still less than 0.15. However, this is also in range of when you have negative 0.15. Since I'm solving for the length, I want to get rid of this negative 28.5 by adding 28.5 on each term. And if I do so, these two will be gone. So all I get is L by itself. Now, when you're adding 0.15 with 28.5, I will get 28.65. That is less than or equal to, when you are subtracting 0.15 from 28.5, you will get 28.35. And this is going to be your minimum, where this is going to be your maximum. So the minimum length in here will be 28.35 centimeter. Maximum length will be 28.65 centimeter. Number 11, what is the correct simplification of the inequality below? In order to solve the inequality, first you're going to simplify as much as you can and just pretend that this is going to be your equation. So the first step is when I distribute, I'll get 7z. 7 times 8 will be positive 56. The next number is when you multiply negative 5 with 6, you will get negative 30. Negative 5 times z will be negative 5z. That's less than 122. When you're combining the like terms, I say 7z and negative 5z could be combined to be 2z. 56 minus 30, this will be positive 26. Now keep in mind that you're solving for z, so if I want to get rid of this positive 26, you'll be subtracting 26 on both sides. 122 minus 26 will become 96. That is bigger than 2z, where if I want to get rid of the 2, you're going to divide by 2 on both sides. And then z becomes bigger than 48. So in here, the answer will be when it looks like all the z's are on the left, so make sure that you're looking at this sign. Your inequality sign is saying that your z is less than 48. So when you're looking at it, this part A is saying z is less than 48, where part B is saying z is bigger than 48. And that's how I know the A is going to be my answer. This is the end of the lesson. Thanks for learning with me. If you have any questions, please leave a comment.